Hello, everyone. Welcome to On Location with Zara Durrani in Vancouver. Currently, we're here in Yaletown on a holiday-long weekend. I'm so excited to be here. We're up first thing in the morning, and joining me is someone I'm so honored to have here today. First of all, we're filming at this beautiful location, Dwell Living in Yaletown, a beautiful store. Make sure to stop by and tell them you heard about it from our show On Location with Zara Durrani, brought to you by TELUS STORYHIVE. So joining me is JoAnn Fowler. It's my second time interviewing JoAnn. However, I've known her for quite some time through the film industry. She's an Emmy-nominated makeup artist. She's won Leo Awards for her work. You may recognize some of her work if you go on IMDb. Her work includes The L Word, Final Destination, X-Men, 4400. Like, the list just goes on. So she's done makeup on the who's who of the Hollywood it list, like, you know, the celebrities, the name, the list just goes on and on. So I feel very grateful. And secondly, if you're wondering what's happening with my face this morning, I just rolled out of bed. All I'm wearing is sunscreen and just a little bit of gloss, and we're going to be using JoAnn's makeup line, which is organic and vegan, and we're gonna get into that with you, JoAnn. She's really passionate about creating makeup that is truly chemical-free, as chemical-free as possible. So we're gonna talk about Sappho Cosmetics, her career, and we're gonna do a full face of makeup, like an everyday look on me. JoAnn, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure, my pleasure.
Good to see you.
Yeah, great to see you. And you know, I know I was talking there for quite a bit there, but your career, my goodness. You know, for anyone to create like a makeup line, to like really know, like, you've been working, doing makeup on so many different skin types, skin colors. Like, you could probably do someone's makeup in your sleep.
You know, it's kind of second nature for sure. But you know, as you get older, you can't see as well. And yeah.
You see great. And you look fabulous in your glasses. You look totally fabulous.
Yeah, you know, it was a 30-year career. It was a long time doing something that I really loved. Yeah, I was very lucky.
I feel like anytime I bring up to someone that, you know, okay, I'm going to have JoAnn Fowler on the show, and they're like, oh, yes, 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 I know her. I know Sappho Cosmetics. I know. And even friends of mine who are actually now in Germany, when I mention your makeup line, they're very, very familiar with that.
Well, we launched in Berlin. So,
you did?
Yes, we did,
Okay.
in Europe in 2019, just prior to the shutdown.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, so we're in Europe, we're in Germany and Czech Republic, and I think online in Spain and Italy with Douglas and those places, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So I know we have a lot to talk about, and we're also going to have a little bit of a before and after with the look that we're gonna create here. What I love about your makeup line, I'm someone who's not into the, you know, the trendy makeup of like having this full face on where you can't even see your pores, and it's layers and layers of hiding. And that's why, like, even when I was in Paris for Fashion Week, I was using your makeup, your skin tint, your foundation. And, you know, I've certainly been a fan of what you've been creating, because there's something lovely about knowing that you get a little bit of coverage, and then what you're putting on your skin, it's not damaging my skin. So I want to get into how and the why of it. Like, when did you decide that, listen, I've been applying makeup on actors and actresses' faces for this long? Because it's a totally different journey to like wanting to, and getting in the business of it, and then what's going in it. What inspired that?
You know, it really insanity. I had no aspirations to own a company. I never wanted a company. I never wanted to run a company. No, it was a conversation. My mom had just died of cancer. My sister had cancer. My brother
I'm so sorry.
has cancer or had cancer. You know, and it was a conversation with Mia Kirshner. I think it was in 2006, around there, and she sat in my chair, and I had just...
This is for the L word?
For the L word,
Okay.
yeah. And she sat in my chair, and she said, "Oh, JoAnn, I'm not wearing any more parabens in any of my makeup." And I had just spent, $1,000 on stuff. And I looked at her and I said, "Well, that's great, Mia. I don't know what you're talking about." But I'll find out. And she actually told me about what the EU was doing and these 1,300 chemicals that they were getting rid of and banning for environmental reasons. And it just so happened that some cosmetic ingredients got in there through the environmental groups, not through the cosmetic groups. So they snuck them in, which was very great. And so she told me about this. I phoned my girlfriend Norma Patton Lowen, who is Hallie's personal makeup artist, but she's also one of my closest friends.
Hallie, as in Halle Berry. You're just like, it just
Sorry.
rolls off your...
But she's Norma's one of my closest friends.
It just like rolls off your tongue. You're just like very casual about it.
Well, she's been her makeup
know,
artist for
I get
20 years. She's an amazing, one of the best makeup artists in the world.
Wow.
I phoned her, and she knew so much about, she was from England, she knew lots about botanicals and all that stuff. So I phoned her right away, and I said, "Have you heard of these things called parabens?" And she said, "Well, as a matter of fact, I just got this book, and it's called Not Just a Pretty Face. Would you like to borrow it?" And I drove over it. I got it. I soon got my own copy. It's dog-eared to death at this point. But the first paragraph in that book was, and no, I can't quote it verbatim because I'm dyslexic and numbers are a bit weird, but it was around 289 chemicals were found in the blood, and they tested, people throughout the United States, and they found PCBs, and they found endocrine disruptors, hormone disruptors, they found toxins, they found petrochemicals, things that mess with your brain, things that mess with your hormones, all these really, really toxic chemicals. And the subjects were newborn babies across the United States, still in the hospital. So they had never actually even been out into the environment, and this was in their blood. So the question then became, like, how do we get things, how do we absorb things? And the book is an amazing, I still read it.
And the skin is the largest organ of the
our
body. It's
yes.
like, of course, like what we put inside matters, but also like I'm also so mindful of what I put as body lotion on my skin.
Absolutely.
Like I put like coconut oil, like just organic coconut oil, on my skin, because it's like our body just like soaks it up.
Absolutely. So, yeah, so that was my journey, and I started a little line for my trailer because I wanted to offer, the women that sat in my chair an option, and I wanted to not offer an option to the children that sat in my chair. They were going to get the good stuff. And then it kind of like, I don't know, it ended up, I had a little online store. I thought I would retire, have a little online store. And instead, I don't know, it just sort of took off. People were really interested. All of a sudden I found myself learning what a SKU was, and I really knew nothing. I knew nothing about business. I didn't
Because
even,
you're the creative, you're the artist.
I didn't know that Excel could add things up. Like, I mean, honestly, it was really bad.
Can it? I don't either. I am not good at that.
I have learned a lot of things that I have never wanted to learn in the last 15 years. And numbers, I'm a mere dyslexic. So it's been very challenging. But also the creative, the part of that I love the most is working with all the younger women that are creatives, that are the designer, the women that helped us put together our metal displays that are recyclable, refillable, all that stuff. It's like working in conjunction with other creative people is just amazing. And thank God too, I have a couple of people in my life that are really good with numbers, like a good accountant, and that's really important. So that's how it all happened. It happened. I feel like it happened to me. Yeah.
Like this was supposed to happen. This was part of your journey, and it was meant to happen.
Yeah, I feel very, very strongly, even though I haven't been, completely successful.
I think you're totally successful, and recently you had a win. I'm not sure. Would you like to share it with our audience?
Well, we just won. an innovation award for Best Mascara
Amazing.
for 2023.
Wow.
And it was pretty special because this took 8 months to make. Our company is working with something called, we're trying to eradicate forever chemicals, PFAS. So we're actually the leading company, certainly in Canada, that's working with PFAS, and our entire complexion line is non-detect, testing for non-detect 10 parts per million, which not too many other companies can actually say. So when we developed this mascara, we developed it to be refillable, reusable, and also we tested the formula. We tested, see this little white wand? We had to make 4 of them.
Wow.
So it took 8 months to find one that tested non-detect 10 parts per million for these PFAS. So these PFAS are like endocrine disruptors on steroids. They're cancer-causing. They leach from plastic into products, and they can stay in the earth for up to 10 years when they're discarded. So it's not just about dermal absorption, it's also about the environment. So this little baby, this piece too, was also tested non-detect, 10 parts per million. So it's the world's first vegan mascara that is refillable as well as PFAS tested non-detect from start to finish.
And I actually used this in Paris, and I found like one of my favorite things about your mascaras was how easily it comes off. Because anytime I wear any other mascara, it just like I have to actually wash my eyes several times. My family became very aware of chemicals in skin products and toxins when my sister-in-law first had cancer, and may she rest in peace, she passed away, my brother's wife, and then my mom 2 years later. And we just started becoming very aware through researching, and they were both quite fairly young. Lotions, you know, toothpaste, like deodorant, shampoo,
Absolutely.
everything that all the things that we are not aware of and we just go and buy because we're seeing it in a commercial, in an ad, or this and that, or because it's on sale, it's the cheapest item that we can find, so we're just gonna go ahead and purchase that. You know, it's like I remember when I was in high school, like I would say up until like my mid-20s, it took me a long time to be able to like walk out of my home without wearing makeup. Because, yeah, because I felt like I needed to have like this full face of makeup on, which was never the right skin tone, like never, didn't really know how to put mascara or eyeliner on, but I just like, you know, it's that journey of like, what does it mean to be beautiful, and like, what does it mean to feel comfortable in my skin? Like, those are conversations that my peers weren't having, or I didn't listen to those conversations on television or in magazines and stuff. So with our show, I like also really love talking about that, the idea of beauty. And I feel like with vegan and organic makeup, when I use your foundation or, you know, your skincare, your products, it's literally like I feel like, okay, it's not about me hiding. Versus when I was younger, I put a lot of energy into hiding.
It's about adornment.
Yes.
Yes, and that's how I feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never, see, I'm the exact opposite. I grew up as a hippie, so first of all, I wore makeup when I was younger because, you know, I learned how to make my eyes look bigger. Then I became a hippie, wore no makeup, just didn't even bother. And then started to wear it again as adornment. And I never have felt that I could go anywhere and that I had to wear makeup. I've never in my life felt that way, and I've often found it kind of actually a little sad that people, you know, people are entrapped in this place where they don't feel as though they can walk out the door without wearing makeup. And the thing is our makeup isn't made for film and television. It is really made for everyday life.
That's what I found.
And it's really to make your skin look its best, your skin, not somebody else's skin, you know, and not a rubber skin or a silicone skin, just your skin.
Naturally.
So,
and that's what I love. And for me, it's been a journey. Like, this is the second time that we're filming like live, where, you know, it's like nothing on my face.
I know.
Nothing on my face. And I remember the first time that I did it, which was like in summertime, we filmed a segment on the last show with StoryHive, which I'm so grateful we get to do. and creating a look. And you know, I love the job the makeup artist did, but it's like, even in the filming, like afterwards when I watched it, I was like, wow, I actually weirdly love the fact that we're filming and I'm not wearing anything. And I remember the younger me, like it's taken me like 41 years. You know, but it's that journey of self-love and acceptance and embracing who I am naturally. And I think when I'm putting those products on my skin, that I know, okay, what is in here and how is this harming my skin and how is this affecting me? It's an act of self-love that I'm putting something on my face that I know is not filled with chemicals or isn't gonna hide me. Like that's something I'm really aware of, because I think I did that a lot when I was younger.
Sure.
You know?
I think we do that in our youth anyway. I just want to make one small correction, and that is everything has chemicals. You know, everything is a chemical. We're concerned with toxic chemicals, and in particular now PFAS. But yeah, for sure. You know, I think it's as you get older, hopefully you get to accept yourself a little bit better, and you have like, there's a whole freedom in that. You know, there's the freedom to be able to do whatever it is that you feel. But adornment and cosmetics, and sometimes, you know, like certainly in business, if you fill out business forms, it's never actually an industry. And yet this industry is so large that it feeds billions of dollars into our economies. It moves billions of dollars every single year. It also creates billions of dollars of waste. And yet we don't recognize it as an industry, because I think there's a payoff for, you know, to get away with a lot of stuff if you don't actually consider something that's feminine seriously. And so you get away with a lot of stuff, or they have gotten away with a lot of stuff. And that was, you know, I have always been somebody that's been really concerned with fairness. And I'm not really sure why, but I was so shocked when I saw that we were being lied to by these companies, and we continue to be lied to. And now with PFAS, it's even more, it's awful. We have boys being born with micro. And it's, you know, it's interesting because it's karmatically, it's like men making all these decisions to put these chemicals into these products, and they know. And who's being harmed the worst? You know, it's unconscionable. So we're really careful. We're just trying our best, and you know, but it's not very attractive to investors. When you say that you want to like degrowth, and you want it to be better, and you want it to be clean, and you want it to be perfect, you know what I mean? Like it's a little bit different than, I can make you $2 million next week by just putting a bunch of these chemicals in. We'll put it in plastic, off we go. We'll make it shiny, 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 and
I think like so many brands, like now the whole organic and vegan, it's become a branding and marketing strategy versus like when you break it down, it's, you know, what's in there. Like you were saying, it's more about the toxins, you know, like the toxic chemicals. Well, I'm so excited we have you here. Yes, we're totally going to start, because, you know, we're going to do a little bit of the before and after, and we'll see. Like, I rolled out of bed, guys. All I'm wearing is sunscreen, moisturizer and sunscreen. So I'm so excited I get to have this pro here next to me, who is going to be creating an everyday makeup look.
Well, you know, the first thing we're going to do, actually, this pro is going to ask you to do something.
Ooh la la.
Yeah, and the thing is about this mascara is water-based. That's why it comes off so easily. So we don't recommend it for weddings and funerals, because it's very dramatic. It might be good for a job, not a
or
job
like a
interview,
music video.
but no, or maybe if you're asking for a raise and you want to, you know, I don't know, but. So it is water-based. So how I use it is I start my day by putting on a one coat of it.
Okay.
And then we're going to go on to do the rest of your makeup. So I'm going to let you do that.
Okay.
I'm going to give you this, and I'm going to give you a little mirror. And the reason for that is, and I'll explain this while she's putting on her mascara, is that because it's water-based, it will actually cover every single lash. And if you just keep sort of dunking in and going up. It's like, I don't know if you've ever painted and then you put paint in and the paint lifts the other paint. That's, you know, that's what you're doing. So what we want to do is we want to put the mascara on. We want to let it dry completely. We'll go, you know, have some coffee or, you know, do your foundation, and that's what we're going to do today. And then at the end, we're going to do a second coat. And that's when the first coat, the second coat will build upon that second coat, and that's when you're really going to see your length. So, and even as a makeup artist, I used to get, you know, most women to do their own mascara because you can get really close.
My eyebrows are going wild. I certainly need to trim my so eyebrows gone wild. I certainly had a little bit of a Frida Kahlo situation going on in high school. When I came to Canada at 17, yeah, we certainly need to trim these babies. I came to Canada at 17, so I did like a bit of high school
I'll cut
here.
that little one off.
Yeah, I know, you can see it's like whew, doing its own thing because I wear an eye mask to fall asleep.
Right.
I'm quite high up in my building, so we get a lot of natural light coming in.
Right.
And, you know, just I feel like properly, like I don't have the jet black, like no light curtains, which I should probably get because I think it's proven. Is it there or like?
I don't know what I did with it. Oh, maybe. Well, you can just put it, oh, here it is. Here.
Oh, well, I know, I couldn't see it either. So sometimes like my eyelashes or my eyebrows will be sort of wonky because I put this like eye mask on. But I literally, I used to have really thick eyebrows growing up. Like, you know, being Pakistani and South Asian, we have blessed with really thick hair. You can go ahead and I can just like keep talking. And so what are we using right now?
So we're using Jennifer foundation.
Okay.
And I'm putting it on with a, this is a brush actually that is better used by the person that's putting their own makeup on. But yeah, I just want to show it because it really buffs the makeup beautifully into the skin. And so when you're doing your own makeup,
should I try doing it? Why don't I try?
Sure, you can show just how. Okay. And then I'll show you the brush that we use for professionals.
Okay. Oh, the professionals. Yeah. So maybe.
So I just put
maybe just
here,
a
I'll
little.
Just give you a little bit on there. So this is a skin color called Jennifer.
Okay, and it was named after I know who
Jennifer
it is.
Beals on the L word.
Okay.
And this was the color that she wears now still. And depending on what time of year, of course, right? Yeah, so Jennifer is still part of our company.
So me and Jennifer Beals, like I'm such a fan, such a fan.
She's lovely. Yeah. She's an amazing woman and smart, talented. I probably put it on a little heavier than you usually put it on because you put it on like just with your fingers usually, right?
Yes, that's what I do, yeah.
But it's nice, it has a little bit of golden in it, so it covers any red. And you can see that it's not heavy coverage, and it just looks like her skin.
And I love the brush.
And the brush is lovely.
Yeah. Can I get a little bit more on this
sure.
side? Because I can see some
I'll
redness. I'll let you do it.
I'll give you, I'll give this brush to you. You can show, this is the other brush that we use for professionals. So, and the reason that I say it's for professionals, this one has a angle in it, so it's easier to use on yourself. But it's difficult to use on someone else, whereas that one, you can go straight.
And then I will borrow that?
So, yeah. So, but I use the silver one is now completely black because we've done it in a monoplastic, so it's completely all one, so it's maybe not recyclable yet, but
yeah, I can see how it's taking the redness away. I really feel like since the daylight savings, I've certainly gone into, my eyebrow is like, hello, dancing away. Since daylight savings, I'm consuming more coffee and not enough water. And I can see it in my skin.
Yes, yeah,
I notice it in my skin. And, you know, it's like we have to get our green juice in. We have to get our smoothies in.
And it is really important at this time of year to really start to moisturize up. You know, serums are really great. You know, anything that will just really, especially in Vancouver, because even though it rains a lot, it's very dry.
It's like skin. It just feels so like, I don't know if you guys can notice the difference. It's so subtle. And you know what, one of my pet peeves is when you can see the powdery, cakey like lines, and then you're seeing the difference between the foundation and your pores. And because you've worn so much.
And that's where the buffing brush and a good moisturizer comes in as well, you know? Because on my skin, you know, it sometimes I have to go back in and put a little bit of moisture on because my skin is so dry. So this is our concealer, which is kind of an amazing concealer, I think. It has color in it, but it also has just a tiny bit of kick. So it's really nice for
what kind of kick?
Kick for light.
Ah.
Yeah. So the light's reflected back.
Speaking of water.
And this is the buffing brush, concealer buffing brush. And so this is a little hard for me because of the angle. So I might get you to do the side because I'm sort of used to really.
I'm not on a bar stool and you're not standing.
Yeah,
I know
and I'm not looking.
When you're
and I usually do it into a mirror.
In a trailer chair.
But it's a perfect color for you. This is the tawny color. It was made actually for Margot Bingham. Another actress and another good friend, and she just did one of the episodes on. I haven't seen it, but it's about a black sheriff in the olden days. I don't have I only have one station, so I haven't seen it, but I saw her mom put it out. Yeah. And it looked really great. So Margot we have a color named Margot. And
wonderful.
And then she uses tawny as well.
Oh, I love it. So when I see Jennifer Beals, I'll be like, hi Jennifer, I'm wearing Jennifer too. Fabulous, I love it, yeah. Very natural.
Yes, and I really love the concealer. Yeah, it's also very light.
Yeah, for me, naturally, like concealer, I just use my fingers.
Yes.
I know this is something we were talking about. It's the very French way of doing it. You know, using your fingers more, even with the red lipstick, because then everything, it's not the North American, the Western way of I'm not going to say any names. You guys, I'll leave it to your imagination, but the cake on look versus the more of natural look where it's is she wearing makeup or is she not? We can't tell.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, we are actually not, we are actually getting rid of our eyeshadows, so we're selling them out. And the reason for that is that mica is showing quite high. So I'm going to use the mattest colors on you that don't have mica in them.
I actually really like your.
I know they're great. Yeah. But until the science is out there, there's a lot of scientists working on the whole PFAS thing, and there is a question about mica as to whether it would actually release itself into the environment or into your skin. So there's so much to learn. There's so much to know, but we have to do it quickly because they're so dangerous. And 50% of Americans and Canadians have PFAS in their blood and also in our water. And they can last up to 10 years emitting these toxins that, create havoc in our bodies, right? So there's a lot of people working on it. We are working with BCIT. We're applying for a $2 million or $3 million grant for the school to study PFAS in personal care items, and so that we can start breaking down ingredients, and then we can start informing our society. We can start informing the end user. We can start informing our industry, and also we can help to just mitigate them from our lives, right? And so that's really exciting. It's a lot of extra work, but it really feels like we're doing something, good for the world. And, sorry. No, I'm just doing just a very light eyeshadow. And like I say, we are getting, we don't have our eyeshadows and stuff anymore. We're selling them all out because they do have mica in them. We want to err on the side of safety at this time. They're still not mined by children. They are still pressed with organic oils and butters. They're still the highest quality that you can get, but they do have mica like most eyeshadows do, and we're just not sure right now.
And that's what creates the shine?
That's what creates the shine.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are actually testing things like different shine agents, and we've testing them all for borsilicate. We're testing them for PFAS, organic fluorine. It's a lot of work. It's taking us a lot of time because two of the ingredients last week, actually, we just got back and we're so disappointed because we found out that they were very high in organic fluorine, and we were not expecting it because they were organic. So, so it's quite the...
And not to use any names, but I'm sure that there's a lot of other brands out there who are branding themselves as organic and vegan and still getting the products out and selling or winning awards and such, but still with the toxic.
Well, they don't know yet. Like in all
okay.
fairness, this is such new information. It's only maybe 3 years old, 2 years old. We found out by mistake.
In regards to PFAS?
Yeah, we found out really by mistake, or just because Emmy, our sales director, is really good at reading the news and stuff, and she picked up on it, and then we phoned the scientists, and we had to do all this work. There are a couple of big companies that knew a lot sooner than we did. That would have been very nice had they supported everyone knowing. They didn't, so that cost us a good year and a lot of money. However, everybody's just doing their best. Like, this is brand new stuff. So if it's a big company and they're really high in numbers, I would just stay away from them as much as possible because a lot of green beauty has been taken over by venture capitalists and men, and so there's no rules. So I think it's just really important to really do your due diligence and to learn about these things, but also not be hard on small companies that maybe haven't, like what we're trying to do with BCIT, really it's not just to study ingredients, but it's also to develop protocols so that all companies in Canada, small companies in particular, have access. There's no one in Canada that tests for organic fluorine right now. So it's about creating an access to first our companies, as the test people, and we're working through everything, and then it'll be made out to the public, and it'll be made out to even food companies will have availability to be able to test their packaging or all that kind of stuff, right? So it makes it exciting. It's not just about a little bit of blush.
I love your passion. You have a mission and you're dedicated to what you're doing, and I love the fact that you went from, of course, it's like looking at your career and all the work that you've done, the wins you've had, the actors and celebrities that you worked with, locally, but also from Hollywood, and working on these big budget productions like Final Destination and X-Men, and just the list goes on. And then to be okay, what have I been using and how can I create that myself, and taking yourself on this adventurous ride. So I find it truly inspiring that your passion for what you do.
Well, I don't have a lot of security or money, all the stuff that I had when I was doing film, but I feel like I have purpose.
Yeah.
And so when I wake up every morning, I have purpose. There's something that I'm doing that's going to be helpful to the world. I don't care if anybody knows who I am, but I just hope that some of the stuff that I do helps our future
Well,
generations.
that's why we have you here today,
right?
JoAnn. That's
So,
why we have you back, and we want more people to know. I love your passion. I love your how determined and focused you are.
Really bad at this.
I know. I'm like trying to talk, and as you're doing that,
and I'm doing it backwards.
I'm sure you've done makeup in more interesting situations and different, weather situations. Now, as we're doing this, like, of course, you have this illustrious career, like, this like decades long, 3 decades long. I know we've talked about this last time, but I want to, tap back into like some of this, these amazing projects you worked on, these amazing, names that we know, like Final Destination and X-Men and the L Word. Like,
well, yeah,
I know as someone who works in film, it's like once you're in it and you're doing the work, you're just sort of like, okay, you're here, it's 12, 14, 15 hour. One of my friends, he's working on a local show here, and we're very grateful that the strike has now ended.
Yes, thank goodness.
But he started working like a few months ago when no one was working, and because people found out that he's working on a show and he's one of the keys on the show, that everyone started calling him for work, because he's like, I get the privilege that I have right now when no one is working. And it's like, as makeup, not many people know that people who make the stars look beautiful, they're the first in, like before the actors, before the cast. Like, you're waking up at 3 a.m. to go to like Cloverdale or like, Whistler, Pemberton,
absolutely.
like Minati Bay, to go like film, and then the last ones.
Yeah,
like the last ones to leave. The first ones in, you're having like 16, 17-hour days.
Well, we did this, always makes me laugh. We went up to Whistler with the L Word, and it was like, yay, we're going up to Whistler. It's going to be so much fun. And we were doing a big wedding scene. It was a big night wedding scene. We were there for a week. And Paul, the hairdresser, and I, because there were so many people for the wedding and all the guests and everything, we got up in the morning at 4 a.m. We drove to the trailer, which was in a dirt, like a gravel pit. And we started doing makeup, and we did makeup for like 15 hours, makeup and hair, to the point where we just did, like, I would like do the same makeup on 5 people, all the guests, because it was just like, and then we would go home at night, and we never saw Whistler in the day. Like, we never saw any of it. It was just like the rest of the crew's partying, and just like they're losing everybody up on those ski lifts, and everybody's like, zip lining, and Paul and I are in that trailer doing makeup and hair, and just like, so
and you have to be with it, because you're the one, like, you guys have like steady hands. Like, my hands naturally just always, and depending on, the time of the day, like, and also I really like my caffeine.
Caffeine.
My hands are always just a little bit like, woo. Like, you guys are like, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, whatever you're doing, and you have to be on, because especially the main cast, like the ones who are on camera, for them to fully trust you that you're going to make me look good on camera.
Yeah, I've always felt sorry for people that can't wake up in the morning. I'm a person that wakes up in the morning in the world, but people that can't wake up and are really grouchy or really miserable in the morning, I can't imagine them working in film, like, and just, it must be so awful.
Can they? Are there people like that?
Or
maybe the
cast? I did actually have an assistant. I would pick her up in the morning, and she wouldn't talk to me until until she had at least 3 coffees. And then she said to me, we had this hairdresser, she goes, well, as long as she's quiet. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's not going to happen. You're going to have to, like, deal with it. But it still was, it was hard to watch her, because it's a lot of hours. It's really brutal work. It's brutal work on hair and makeup. You're out in the rain, you're out in the snow, you're out in the dirt, and you're making everyone else look really great. But it's so much fun. And when you're working with a cast that you love, like the L Word, where the inside jokes are just so much fun, and our trailers were, regardless of what was going on with production, our trailers were just so much fun. All these women, and just dance parties, and just silly stuff, and just so much fun. it was a joy to work in those trailers. Being on set is not always a joy because it's a very patriarchal system. It's, makeup artists are not really well respected, and they really need you, and they want you, and they need you to sign on to them because they need a good makeup artist. But then as soon as you're there, you're like, well, whatever. It's just makeup, right? It's just like makeup as a industry isn't seen as just makeup. People don't see it as being any kind of force, and yet it is. If you don't have it, it's very interesting. But all in all, yeah, what a great career. I'm very fortunate. I fell into my career as a makeup artist. I asked my mom if I could take a makeup course when I was 14, and she told me that only wear makeup. So I didn't ask her again. She was not like that. Usually she was just in a grumpy mood that day. But how I ended up in it was just so great. But I did work with kids for many years before that. Like I got a childcare diploma. I worked with, that's how I came out to BC. I was working with BC had at that time a NDP government. It was actually an NDP government. And they had the best social systems in the world. And then the Socreds got in and we ended up with Maine and Hastings. So it's sort of watching all of that. But that's sort of where I come from, from a very social aspect. So that's where makeup and my earlier days, I think, have really sort of come together,
amalgamated.
And I'm just gonna end up with this, if this is okay.
Okay.
This
Yes,
is
yes,
okay.
yes.
So this is something that we are working on. You're gonna be the first people to see it, and it's
I had not even seen this before.
And it's not even really in its own case yet. So that's going to be the big surprise. This is not going to be out till probably January, February, but it is a PFAS-free, organic lip and cheek color.
Ooh, loving.
And I want you to be the inaugural person to put it on.
Okay.
And
I can just on my lips, I can just
on
use
your
my
lips and on your cheeks, and then what we'll do is we'll go in with another round of mascara.
Sweet, we love it. Oh, and then I'm taking it home.
She is.
I got my fingers on it.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's very light, it's very sheer, but it's got lots of color, and at the same time it's like
I can see this being so nice for like spring, summertime.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it's so subtle. And would you use like a brush or just like fingers?
Just your cheeks, just your fingers.
I think we talked about this, like, I like to use my hands quite a bit when I'm doing my makeup instead of just a lot of the, oh, that's really nice.
Isn't it pretty? A little more on this side. Yeah. Nice. And then what I might do, though, might use a little
It's almost like so subtle pumpkin-y, like, what is the base in it? Because I like how it's almost, because I'm such a fan of oils. It's very moisturizing.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you quite yet.
Okay.
But I'll let you know. It's super moisturizing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it feels wonderful. And what I'm going to do with your makeup, because
so you're going to do some of this on the eyes.
I am.
Yeah, I do that quite often.
Because it just will. It'll just
put the look together.
Yeah, it'll just get everything in there. Just make everything. Just pull it together a little bit.
I know, my brows.
Your eyebrows.
We're gonna be fixing the brows after. Good thing you're the first, guest of the day. So we're gonna be.
And
I like it's very just like glowing and natural.
And, whoops. Let's get you to do
the second coat. Okay,
coat.
so let me grab this guy. Alrighty. We're doing a second coat. Ooh la la. Okay, yeah, I see the separation now, and like building up on that.
Yeah, you can see more, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and it just,
completely.
see that right there, you can just see the little, it gets a little bit thicker, and you can actually, if you hold it up, you can actually keep a curl to it, which is because it dries. It's
Well,
kind
I was just surprised how,
of, oh, we've got a
yeah.
little.
I remember when I was using it in Paris, I was surprised how easily it came off. I literally use just water,
Yeah.
and I don't have to like rub my eyes.
And you don't lose any eyelashes that way
Yes,
either, which is
yeah.
really important. So people have actually said, "Oh, it's helping my eyelashes grow," and I'm like, "No, it's not. It's just that you're not losing as many." So yeah, so it makes quite a difference.
Yeah,
See,
no,
and
big
isn't that a
difference.
good trick? Yeah, just
Yeah.
wait till it dries.
Yeah, I did not know that trick. Lovely. It's very natural. It's very like sun-kissed. Looks like I just got back from a vacation.
Yeah, yeah, you look really pretty.
Thank you.
You are very pretty anyway.
Thank you. It's fabulous. No, I'm certainly a fan, and I also see how the consistency of your foundations over the years, like these ones, it's, as you know, when you see me on a regular basis, all I wear is just like mascara. Like I do my skincare SPF every day, and then mascara, very subtle blush and gloss. Like I'm not into the, and especially get into your 40s and I'm like, okay, I'm like maybe 40s, but we're still aiming for the 20 something. We're still aiming for like that, of course, blessed being South Asian and everything. But I truly believe that, how it's going to damage your skin, like what you're putting on, from the skincare products to the makeup, and especially if we're working in film and TV and wearing makeup, having to wear makeup every day, like I'm on stage, I'm emceeing a job, doing red carpet and this and that, I'm so glad that I, got a chance to
And you always look amazing. So I'm always so grateful to.
Thank you. No, I'm also a fan of like, your eyeshadows, like that. That's truly amazing. I'm so glad we got a chance to talk about this. I really want to talk more about your career because I find that truly exciting. Partially, it's like where strike has ended, we're going to be going back to work. You've had this amazing career. I'm sure someone out there who's watching, who's whether thinking about going to school, makeup school, or wanting to jump into the industry, of course things have changed, over the last several decades, but you do have a lot of experience to share, and perhaps some words of wisdom you can share with our audience, someone wanting to get in as a makeup artist in the film industry, or even just jumping into the industry.
Well, yeah, I think it's, I think training is really important, and you go to a school that has a lot of different types of teachers. I think training is super, super important, but then practice is even more important, because I don't really believe that, I think anybody can be a good makeup artist. Not everyone can be a great makeup artist, but I think almost anyone can be a good makeup artist, and it just is like doing thousands of faces. I don't think you can call yourself, my teacher used to say, you can't call yourself a makeup artist until you've done at least 1,000 faces.
You're kidding.
That's what Todd McIntosh used to say.
Wow.
And he was on it was my first show called Wise Guy.
Oh, I remember Wise Guy.
1989.
I used to watch it in Pakistan.
Yeah, yeah.
We used to get Wise Guy in Pakistan. Oh my goodness.
That was my first job. I was Todd's assistant. I worked like 3 or 4 days a week, and I couldn't get enough of it.
Wow.
I would stay. He would wrap me, and I would stay. If he was doing blood or any work like that, I would stay for free. I couldn't get enough of it. And then my second job was MacGyver. And MacGyver was really great for learning how to do like ball caps and dirt and cuts and bruises and all that kind of stuff. It was, but it was sort of in one way it was hard too, because like you were driving, 20, 30 miles out into the bush, like almost every day. Bunsen Lake was, seemed like we should have had our wrap party there. And, you're up the mountain one day. And also, the acting on Wise Guy was so incredible.
Yeah.
Like there was Oscar, nominated people on that show. And on MacGyver, it wasn't so much. It was like, where did the acting go? Not that they were bad actors, there was good acting, but it was a different, it was more about action and all that kind of stuff. And so I did a ball cap every week because we had to stunt Dana Elcar and he was balding. So I got so good that at ball caps, I was really good at it. So I got a lot of practice in that kind of stuff on MacGyver. And then through the years, you just do different. I worked on X-Files. I did special effects. I did X-Men. I did special effects.
Tell me about X-Files and X-Men.
Well, I didn't work on X-Files a lot. I just went in a couple of times to help to work with Toby, actually, the special effects. And so they did one episode where they all were in the bottom of a submarine and they were all aging.
I remember.
Yeah, and I did Jillian's makeup with Toby.
How was Jillian?
She was amazing.
I'm such a fan.
She was amazing, and the poor thing. Like at one point, we had all this aging on her forehead. We had all these pieces, these big, silicone pieces on her face, and then we had this big neck piece that had to go on. And people don't understand it can be very, very claustrophobic when you're wearing these things. And she saw this neck piece coming at her, and she started to cry. And she started to cry, and she was weeping. And the poor Toby, he was standing across from me, and guys, he just didn't know what to do at all. So his eyes just got really big, and I just took her in my arms and just, talked her through it, and just you've got to do this. You've got to ask for whatever help, whoever you ask for help, whatever gives you strength, ask for that strength, because you have to do this as part of your job. They're expecting you out there, and let's get through this. And she and I, we bonded very well at that time, and I was off in another place and didn't really get a chance to actually really, she invited me to spend some time with her, and I wasn't able to, and I regret that in a way because I really, really liked her. And so that was, one of my stints on X-Files, and then X-Men. I did the second unit on 2 of them. So, and on one of them, I did 2 weeks of. We did the Nightcrawler. So we were talking about that earlier. But Nightcrawler, we did all the stunt stuff. So Christopher and I went in every day. It was a 2.5-hour makeup. He did one side. Christopher Pinney, and I did the other side. And we'd start with laying the tattoos down, and then we had to squeeze this stuff. It was almost like, it looked like cake decorating. And then you had to cake decorate all the tattoos because they were raised tattoos. And then you would go in with, one color of blue with the airbrush, and then you would go in with a deeper, and then you would do the highlights with the silver, and then you would go over it all, and then you do the prosthetic ears. Sweetheart.
Baby.
And then the stuntman was amazing. He was just the calmest. He would just sit there for 2.5 hours, and then he would just be like a meditation for him. And then he would be up on those ropes for 12 hours.
Wow. And
he'd come off the ropes, and we'd run to fix him up, and we'd take his big gloves off, and then we'd pour water. We pour, buckets of water was coming out of his body because the strength on those ropes all the time. And then we'd be pouring water into, just giving him glasses of water. And we would do that. He would do that for 14 hours a day. And then we would come back and take the makeup off.
Yeah.
Well, I remember the accountant looked at me and she said, "You're making more money than most directors right now." But we were doing I think it was 18 or 19 hours a day. It was brutal.
It takes a toll on your body, even for me, I've done behind the scenes, and I'm so grateful to be able to live here in Vancouver in Canada, to be Canadian, to work in the industry, to have a career in the industry. but it's like the times that I've worked behind the scenes, and like when day calls is one thing, but when you take a regular, like a season gig, which I did in 2020, and I was just so grateful, like right after COVID, like after that season. And it's kind of funny, like when I started, like I'm not gonna say any names, but it's like when I started, like the DP, he was just sort of like, he's like, yeah, we're mostly in studio, we're mostly in we were 90% location.
Yes.
This is a winter show.
Yes.
And we would film at Riverview.
Oh yeah.
In December. Yeah. Thunderstorms, it's like
no heat.
Pouring till 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and you're just, and I just have so much respect for crew, and I think like having done that, it kind of, you can never walk on set and be like, oh yeah, the thing is, there's all these people who are making this possible. So you have to be grateful. And I feel like perhaps that experience was there for a reason for me, because the Jenny op and like, all these people, the focus puller, the PAs. And when you have nights like that, and if as an artist or as a performer, like all you're focused on is like, yes, just my work, or like, the director. But the thing is, all these people who are here making this possible, so this circus, this show happens, and then by the time you're wrapped, it's gonna take them so many more hours to even close everything down
and
like
everything off.
Clean everything up. And I have so much respect for our crew here, like in BC and Vancouver.
Yeah, we're one of the only, we've worked in rainstorms and it doesn't look like it's raining on camera.
Yeah.
Directors are always, but yeah, we've got great crews here. Crews are good everywhere. Nobody goes to work on a crew
who's
really,
not passionate.
that's not passionate, because it's just, you just go to do. I've never had a makeup artist show up that wasn't there to do the best job that they possibly could, because people take pride in what they do. And I hope that the next time the crews go to negotiate, that they remember how much they suffered through this strike, because I think we really need to make up for some lost time.
So it really sounds like, I feel like for anyone listening, I think like mindset and the passion for the art really has to be there. Like whether you're a makeup artist, hairstylist, actor, or director, writer, whatever it is you're trying to do in the industry, or that can be with any job. It's, it's like bringing that excitement. Like I always love, like whether I'm doing a day call or like a week or like, on a show for a bit, I love the, like, I say like we're like a family of misfits, you come on set, you have all these personalities, everyone's like very unique and different, and you have this great energy, and especially when you get to really know people, when you're working on those night shoots, like in the rain.
And that's when you really bond, for sure. It's like you bond through trauma somehow.
You do. You completely do.
And you have, and those are the nights where you laugh so hard. You're covered in mud, you're soaking wet, and you're just hysterical because your boot just got caught in the mud and it stayed in there, and it's just, but it really is, it is really fun. It can be really, but you do have to be passionate about it, because if you're not, then it's just not one of those things you can just do for money. It's just and I always say we're high-paid carnies. Because none of us really want to stay in one place for very long, and we really, most of us are ADD, and we like to have lots of entertainment, and we like to see things and do things, and
we can't be controlled. We like our freedom.
We like our, a little bit rambunctious.
It's funny, over the weekend, like on Friday, I was, I'll be honest, I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed, doing like so many different things, projects, like, our show we're filming today, and our episodes from like the last month filming I'm doing that paperwork, and then I have my auditions, and I have my dog, and then I'm doing other client projects, and this and this and this, like lots of different things, which I'm so capable of doing. And I just picked up the phone to be like, I think I just need to get out of my head and like just talk to someone. But like, it's so different when you speak to an artist or like a self-employed person, or someone who has like a 9-to-5 like salaried or whatever you want to call it, you know. And I shared all the different projects that I'm working on, and the person was like, I'm kind of overwhelmed just like listening to everything you're doing. Like, how are you doing this? I'm like, I like it like that though. Yeah. I like the like, you know, I don't know, like we're gonna be doing this and this is happening, I'm putting this event together, and then I have this audition to tape, and then I'm going into class, and I like the
energy is great.
The energy and the fact that it's not the same.
Yes,
not
exactly.
the same.
Exactly.
I think
exactly.
And I do think, I'm sure it's like a nice, healthy meditation to have something that is the same thing on the regular. But I think, like you said,
it just depends on who you are.
It's the personality type that our industry
because accounting can be very creative if you're an accountant. I mean, you know, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, but I mean, you know, really and truly, everything can be like, numbers are actually super interesting. You know, they're very spiritual.
Truly,
like,
I'm saying truly, like.
Oh, you know, I don't really know what I'm talking about either, but I just have this feeling about it.
But I think that they are like the, you know, folks who do accounting, and like, you know, they're just like, oh, look at how are you spending your time and all those things. I'm sure that the way, I think we're more visual people. We're more like
for sure.
in the performance and like this. And I feel like it's such a privilege that, you know, I get to talking so much, I need all the water. That I get to do this show and, you know, have individuals like yourself come here, share their stories, their passion and their heart, because there's a reason why you've had the success you've had as a makeup artist and then go on to create your own line. You know, you have this legacy. This work, and I feel
I hope the legacy is the PFAS work.
Yeah,
I really do.
100%.
I really do. Like, makeup is like, you know that show, Absolutely Fabulous.
Yes.
You know, where they meet every month and with the makeup company, and they're like, oh, a little bit of blush. No, we'll talk this month. We'll do lips. We shall just do lips, and you know, because sometimes it gets like, oh God, really? So, the PFAS is
the mission.
You know,
the
mission
have
is,
a mission
is also
is to
what's
create
important.
Makeup that, you know, it's like with as little toxins as possible, and while educating people. And I'm so grateful our paths crossed. I don't even honestly remember, JoAnn, when and how we first, we've just known each other for a very long time, and I really truly don't recall. It may have been L Word, because I did do some like BG work on it, like here and there, like a day and this, when I was first, you know, leaving modeling and just dipping my toes into the acting world. And I was like, this is like so fascinating, because it's such a different, different, and I, you know, got to see like Jennifer Beals and all the ladies, and you know, they were just so amazing and cool, and like all this crew that is there on set and all the work that goes in. And, you know, anyways, like, regardless, I'm just so grateful that our paths crossed however they did, that we got to have you here, you know, a second time in a row.
Well, you're an amazing woman. You've got so much going on, and you're always like busy and doing creative stuff, and I just always have admired that.
And I love being surrounded by amazing, inspiring women with a heart, with a mission, you know, like yourself, and so talented and with so many stories to share. You know, I'm sure we could speak for hours and hours and hours. Thank you so much for taking the time, for joining us here on a holiday long weekend. And
see, I didn't even know it was a holiday long weekend.
Sometimes I don't even know what day is it. You know, it's like I'm working on a Saturday. I don't know. I work every day. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. Thanks for tuning in. We will share JoAnn's information so you can check out Sappho Cosmetics and also everything that JoAnn is up to. JoAnn, thank you so much for joining us today. And thanks for making me up.
We'll fix your eyebrow.
She slid that in there. She's like, don't worry, before I go, I'll fix you up. Thank you. Thank you so much.